Going on, guys? Brandon here, Legacy Group Real Estate Team. Privacy is something that is a big hot topic. It's been for the last few years, and it's going to continue to be more and more every day that goes by from here to the rest of time. And it's something that this country has fought about. It's some of the reasons we left the places that we did, all the immigrants here. It's because of things like privacy, and it's something that is very paramount when we talk about things like artificial intelligence, obviously, AI, any forms of AI, with virtual reality coming, and then things I want to touch on briefly today with the cash, money, gold. These are the things that are going to be huge when, they're already here. And this is an article from goldsilver.com. It's from one of their writers there, but it's just kind of illuminating exactly what's going on right now. And, when you think about it, if you take really probably any quantity of money, but if you take, they say $10,000, but if you're taking $10,000 cash out of the bank, or if you're putting $10,000 in the bank, then it's automatically flagged. The government knows about it. But there's been reports over the last few years of that not being the case, where, if it's $5,000 or $8,000 or $9,999 people have done, then you get flagged. And immediately, like one of the lines in here, when you're caught with cash on you, there's been a couple cases just in the last year or so in the US where people were pulled over and found to have a bunch of cash in their car, or they're going through an airport and going through metal detectors, and then were stopped and like quarantined, basically, put in isolation, and their money was taken from them. A lot of cases the money was returned, but sometimes the money wasn't returned. That's truly incredible, where just for having large amounts of cash on you, you're suspected of doing something wrong. It's not how the country is founded, and nor should it be the way that it works. So it's something that it's a talk that we have to have with, obviously, things like AI coming. Where do these lines, where do they get crossed? Where does privacy start and end? And, obviously with our lives and the way they've gone now with, and again, some incredible pieces of information just in this article talking about what Facebook is doing. And they recently filed a patent to beef up and streamline, I quote the paper here, the process of surreptitiously listening to what you and your children are watching via the mic on your phone. And it's incredible just what is going on. And they, for some people, like a lot of it, there are marketing schemes, and that's fine. There are many things where you're trying to get the products in front of people, and Facebook's got, they're all over the place. What they're doing, it's funny because on one hand, they are doing a lot of things that they're found to be, silencing conservative voices. Basically people on the conservative end of the spectrum, which is not good. People shouldn't be doing that, but it's a private company, so people can leave if they want. And the other end of that is they are doing things that I laugh, that's not good. But then you have people on the other end that are complaining about the business side and the ad side and the marketing side. And when Facebook's goal is to keep you on their site as long as possible, and they're doing that by limiting the number of pages that you see that are business pages and things like that, because they want people staying on the site. If they're all just ad after ad after ad, people aren't going to stay on the site anymore. So I find it funny when you have a lot of business people complaining about that, because Facebook's whole goal is to keep as many people on the site as possible and their attention there as long as possible. That's why there are paid ads now. That is literally the result of that, which is good. It makes sense. If Facebook's smart at keeping the attention there on themselves and keeping the eyeballs there. But again, like I said, some of the things they're doing, not good. And we have to be cognizant of that. We as people have to be cognizant of that. Again, it goes into, the title of this article is Cash, Our Least Appreciated Form of Private Payment Eyes Extinction. And all over the world trying to go to cashless societies, they're eventually trying to do it here. And the scary thing, we have things like Bitcoin, obviously, and cryptocurrency, which is good. They have a huge positives, and there also are some negatives, being able to be tracked, things like that. People say that that's not the case. Yet, again, we just did a video the other day about the Russian spies that we tracked because they were using Bitcoin to buy VPNs, buy dark web servers, lease them from Malaysia. We found them because of their Bitcoin usage. So it's going to a digital society. Everything's tracked. In the long run, I guess, hopefully good people are in power. You hope and pray, because people are going to be more honest. I mean, you can't, it used to be for forever, bad people could fly under the radar and you really didn't know what they were doing. Now, everyone's going to be exposed. It's funny, it was either Robert Kiyosaki or Gary Vaynerchuk or somebody, and they were talking about that someday they are convinced that everything you've ever done in your life is going to come out about you. Like, someone will tap into your thing and just expose everything you've ever written, every word you've ever typed on the internet somewhere, on a phone, doesn't matter. Picture you sent, going to be exposed. And that may happen, so I think it's going to be very interesting, because you're going to have a society that is exposed and hopefully elevating the level of discourse as they move forward, because we know that we're being watched, and there are different levels of being watched. There's Big Brother, and then there's society. My peers are watching me. So what's it going to be? Which way are we going to go with it? I wanted to go over just a few of the stats here, and I don't want to go too long here, but again, a lot of these videos we do are just to kind of get the conversation started and kind of talk about some of these things and what's coming towards us as a society. Over 10,000 of the 95,000 banks that existed in 2008 have closed. Waiting for the bank teller to go away. Absolutely. ATMs once themselves the vanguards of banking automation are following suit. In the UK, 500 disappear every month. NBC forecasts that cash will be gone in the US by 2027. So what we were just talking about, obviously cashless society, the one thing that's scary about that is the government's people in charge, whoever the powers that be, can just pause you like that. That's the one thing that scares me about a cashless society. The thing that scares me about Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, is things like Puerto Rico, for instance. Down in the Caribbean, we have all these islands. A lot of them are still without power. And how do you access your Bitcoin? How do you access your cryptocurrency? Those are all the real things. This is why gold and silver, I talk about this right now. The cycle is down. It's not some investment where you're gonna get massively rich off of it. Is there a chance you could? Yeah, there's a chance, but the point is insurance. It's money insurance. It's insurance that you're not going to lose your wealth, and you're going to be able to do something if something happens. I mean, people talk all the time like that's worst case scenario. Well, that just happened. These islands got wiped out. Literally just happened. Some of these people, like the guy that runs goldsilver.com, has a home in Puerto Rico, and it was damaged, and there's people everywhere there that don't have power. So this is real stuff. Like, absolutely real is happening. This isn't pie in the sky. This is absolutely happening. So these are things we have to think about. This is why hedging yourself and having some different buckets where you're putting your assets is smart. That way, if one goes down or two go down, you still have one or two over here that you can go pick from. And like I said before, they talk about, you're basically considered a criminal now. People look at you, the law looks at you as a criminal if you're found carrying large amounts of cash on you. And just talking about the Facebook patent, and then just kind of ransacking your life through your phone, and just the ability that people have to go through your phone and to find information about you. So I want to see what you guys think about this. This is something that is very prominent in our life now. For some reason, it's, a lot of it hasn't happened yet, where there hasn't been a ton of big stories on it yet, and there are going to be more and more. I mean, obviously Facebook, Zuckerberg was under the scope here over the last couple of months, and it started to really kind of, I think, have people start noticing some of these things. And I think the more that happens, the more these stories come out, the more it's going to happen. So on one hand, it's kind of inevitable. People think that life's going to return back to the society we had 50 years ago or 100 years ago or whatever, and it's not. That's not what society does. It keeps progressing forward. But we have to understand how are we handling this. Like I said, with AI, with our currency, or cash, digital society, with VR, how are we going to handle those things? How are those things going to be, the rules around them, the privacy around them? What is that going to look like? And that's the conversations that everyone needs to start having now, until it's, before it's too late. here, for example, and this is where, there's a story of HSBC laundering billions of dollars for Mexican drug cartels and terrorists they got caught. And this is the problem. The problem is the fines, the penalties for doing these things, for collecting all the data on you, really aren't that big. A crime so vile and vast and directly tied to promoting the most extreme violence imaginable. Their penalty: forfeit 5 weeks of income and have executives partially defer their bonuses. No wonder other banks decided to work for the cartels, right? So it's incredible. So then they talk about, obviously it's goldsilver.com. So they're talking about what are some things you can't do. Gold, silver, put them in some vaults, keep them in vaults and keep them on hand, etc. But the bigger story of that is real. It's the privacy and the protection of what's going on, and being able to be outside the system and be able to live your life on your terms and not be under the finger of the government and them controlling you and able to pause you out of the system just like that. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about that here. We're talking about AI and VR and what's coming there. What are we going to give to AI? What are we going to allow them to do? How far are we going to let that go? How much are we going to let that run our lives? Again, another big thing right now going on is the 3D printed guns and the First Amendment, mainly the First Amendment issues there, and the Second Amendment that is tied in with it as well. But these things are very real, and these things are here now. A lot of them are still going to be unfolding more as the next decade or two, next couple of decades unfold, but a lot of them are here now, and these are talks that really aren't being had. And I think it was a bill yesterday that was in the Senate. Fortunately, Mike Lee, one of the senators from Utah, kind of stepped in and was just like, what's going on, guys? It was a bill that basically said it shall be unlawful. The first line of it basically read, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it shall be unlawful for anyone to publish. And he literally jumped down to the Senate floor and said, I've not had adequate time to read this. Yet the very first line should gave me pause, and it should give everyone here in this Congress pause. And he read that line and just said, because of this, I object. The point of this country is that we have these amendments, we have this Bill of Rights, we have these things that protect us from the government, not the other way around. I've heard some other day saying, well, the First Amendment doesn't protect you from this federal law. That's exactly what the Bill of Rights is for. That's exactly what the Constitution is for. It is there literally only to protect you from the federal government and to safeguard your rights. So these are very real. It's very, very real. I know it's not, fun stuff to talk about, but it's very real. It affects all of us. It's going to affect us more and more and more than we can ever imagine. So I appreciate you watching today. Like I said, these are to get the conversation started and to get people thinking. And I appreciate you watching and listening. And I hope that you got something out of it, and hope it makes you think a little bit. And if you have heard of some of this stuff, please let me know. Share your comments. And I know a lot of you direct message me and text me and email me, like I always say, but if you could, please throw them in the comments. That way we can start conversations on here and treat it as more of a forum and discussion board. So thank you guys, appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you soon.